Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us and welcome to the Saturday's edition of Shagalinku TV. Thank you all for joining. We're streaming live on 3 destinations on Shagalinku TV Facebook page, on Shagalinku TV YouTube page, and on my personal page, Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari. My guest is here all the way from Lagos. You can drop your message, your comments, questions for him on the comment section, and we'll read them. Anyway, let me start with good news before we go on. So I'll be starting off a new radio show, a new radio live show from tomorrow, every Sunday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. And it's called African Melodies. So on African Melodies, what we do is play you good and beautiful sounds from Africa, from African musicians, and then we'll talk about their culture. We celebrate their heritage and all of that, and we ask you to be part of it by sending your messages and how it is like for you in your area, your culture, and all of that. And we'll do all that. I'm excited about that because it's a different angle of media for me. I virtually have done all parts of media, and this part is one exciting one where we have to explore the African continent, their food, culture, clothing, and all of that. Anyway, let's come back to what we'll be discussing on. So we'll be looking at arts in Nigeria and how much awareness is created, how much awareness is being given to fine arts and all of that. And I have a guest here. His name is Yusuf Durodola, all the way from Lagos. And together we'll be talking about this whole issue and how parents can also help their children because going to school, parents were like, I want you to be a doctor, I want you to be this and all of that. So welcome, Yusuf. How are you doing? Welcome to Shagalinku TV.
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you so much for having me.
You're
How are you doing?
welcome. How is Lagos?
Cool. Cool with the busy, yeah, up and down.
The traffic and everything. And the
Wow.
traffic.
We can do it.
Well done. So we have a lot of viewers who watch across the globe, and would like you to tell us more about who Yusuf Durodola is and what you do for a living, and then we'll take up the interview from there.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone that are watching, and thank you for having me on your show. My name is Yusuf Durodola. I'm a Nigerian, and I'm an artist, visual artist to be precise, and I live in Lagos and work in Lagos. So that is all about me.
Okay, so how was the journey like for you? I know when you interview musicians or actors, they tell you they started acting or singing from their mother's womb. Did you start fine arts in your mother's womb? How did the journey start for you, Yusuf?
Okay, let me join them by saying the same thing. Actually, art is my gift. So I started doing caricature, doing cartoon at the age of 4, 5, 6. And at the age of 7, my daddy started teaching me how to sew because he's a fashion designer. So I was working on machine, rolling the machine, and the funny thing about that during that period was I was seeing dotted lines instead of saying joining of clothes. You know, you give me paper to join it together, but I was just seeing lines, and I was so happy seeing those things, creating patterns on the paper. And at the age of 8, I was living with my brother who happens to be a graphic artist, and my art started pulling from there. So the first form of art expression for me was embroidery design. So I do embroidery design on my sketch pads at the age of 7, and at the age of 8, I started graphics learning from my brother. So it has been a wonderful journey for me when it comes to art. So I've never do without art. Art is everything that I have in my life right today. So today I'm practicing art. So it's so funny that when I was in secondary school, I was one of the best students in accounting, and I didn't go into arts department, but that my brother enrolled me for arts. That this is your line. I do arts for for free, for easy approach. So I didn't see it as something difficult at all. And he told me, this is your line and you have to go for it. So I remember that I collected my um, WAEC form and just put art on the first list and said, go and fill the others. This is your line. So today I'm happy that I'm still in line of arts. So and then from my secondary to during the secondary level, I learned graphics, signages, branding, calligraphy. And when I finished, I moved to Arabic school where I learned calligraphy properly. Then after that, I moved on to handmade card, um, digital prints, um, everything about computer design. So I learned that before I now enter College of Education, where my scope of um, artistic rendition now being widened up. So learn painting, ceramics, textile, sculpture, and all sort of art forms before now move to University of Lagos and then Obafemi Awolowo University. So it's a wonderful journey for me when it comes to arts.
Okay. I will also ask you a few things you talked about, interestingly, about painting, recycling, and performance. But let me also chip in this that we might say you are lucky to have found parents and siblings who, or people around you who knew, who saw from an early age how your talent could be tilted, to work in your favor. Some children might not be as lucky to have the kind of environment you have where they knew already what your talents are, what your creativities are, and all of that. So, what would you like to say to parents in all of that? Because in Nigeria and even in Africa, parents still want to lord over the kind of career or the kind of courses the children will read. And that's why you find a lot of times in campuses, you find students struggling, with grades, with coursework and all of that, because some of these courses are not originally what they wanted to study. So what will be your advice to parents?
Before I move on to that, I will also say that every um, artist pass through the challenges of people not seeing what their talent all about. For me, even in my family, some people believe this guy is just wasting time. What is it? What are you doing? From the society, they tell you you can't survive with this. What is all this trash? But I believe that we can all of us cannot be doing everything or the same thing. It's not possible. And that is why if we are all doing the same thing, this world will be fixed. It will not be flexible. We won't, imagine all of us doing, um, all of us, we are just painters or we are just uh, bricklayers or we are engineers. So who is going to be like automobile builders? Who is going to be a doctor? So we need to do different things. And art is the basic. That is where we start the construction from. Either you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, you want to be anything, the creativity is needed. So for me, everybody, every one of us as an artist, we are facing one challenge or the other. So my advice for the parents is that they should allow their kids to do whatever things. Study your kids, understand the talent of your kids, and let them move on with that kid. Advise them, encourage them. When you deprive them of their own talents, You are not just depriving them, you are telling God that God is not perfect, that God has done something wrong. Why not doing this? Why this? So it's like what God has given that person, you are caging the person. You are killing the talent of your kid. For example, let's look at football. Football was not as popular as what we are experiencing today. But now, if you see any parents that say, "Oh, you have skill of football," you encourage them. People are pushing their kids that have that kind of talent now. So it's the same thing with art. Although it has presently now is changing, people get to know that art is also is a profession that creative. But you know, when you see people dancing or drawing back then, you look at them as if they are wasting time. But it's not like that. You have musicians that are stars. You have theater practitioners that are stars. So the same thing with visual artists. So we are all stars, and you know, what we lack that I understand is publicity or visibility. You know, artists always be in the studio, you know, working. So we need all sort of publicity, and I think that is what is lacking. Why people don't understand. But presently, things are actually changing, and most parents, you know, I teach, and you know, people come to my studio, so I've realized that, and from the experience, that things are changing. People are getting to understand that creativity and is needed in everything you want to do. Creativity is needed. So parents, please allow your kids and encourage them to do art if they have the key, if they have the gift. The gift of art is not something ordinary person can get. If you don't have it, you don't have it. And if you have it, I think you have a rare gift for having, for be able to look at something and see what people are not seeing. That's a very great talent. And if you have a kid that has that kind of talent, I think you should be proud of it. Because whatever things you do, if it is your line, you will make it. Even if you are selling pure water, you are selling anything you are selling, if it is your line, you are destined to do that, you will make it. So if you have a kid that's been destined to have that skill, please encourage and motivate them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So let's talk about your artworks and your designs. What will you say comes to your mind when you do all of this? You know, like again, I will talk about musicians when they write some beautiful songs or award-winning songs, and we ask them, what was at the back of your mind when you were writing such songs or when you were recording the songs in the studio? They will tell you either there was a heartbreak or a friend of theirs experienced that. So they look around the environment and then sing about issues. So where do you draw your inspiration from um, when you do some of your artwork and all of that?
Yeah, I believe that no one live out of the space. And when you are living in a space, there are other people in that space. So you have your internal energy, and there is external energy. External energy that comes from the space, from the people around you. So no way you want to walk without being, you know, influenced by your immediate environment. So for me, things around me are giving me an idea, politically, economically, different art professions are giving me an idea. It might just be a talk, it might just be a conversation with someone, and you know, I'm being inspired by what is happening. So it might be watching a movie or a TV and be inspired by that. So things comes, you know, from your environment. You start from the environment. No way you will not your environment will not influence you, and that is where I pick my idea from. So it might just be from feelings, from emotion that I'm seeing from people, and I begin to, you know, put myself in their shoes. So those are the things generating idea for. So, and at the same time, for one that is being sensitive, you definitely have an idea, because you'll be able to have and imagine what is happening, even questioning your existence. And from there, you'll be able to get some ideas to talk about.
Okay, let's look at some of your works. They will scroll on the screen and you just talk about them quickly. I know they will scroll fast, but what are some of his designs? Yeah. This one particularly, what is it all about? Because I'm seeing a lady kissing someone and then some things like saliva was just going down the throat of the other person.
Well, you look at that particular drawing you are talking about, it's been made from a leaf.
Okay.
That was a drawing that I made at my the fourth performances that I did on COVID. I did four performances on COVID. So that drawing was generated from the last performance. And when you're talking about diseases or you're talking about COVID in particular, there is no way we say Africa, we don't have our own apps. We don't have how to solve all these diseases. And all these come from our local apps, which generated from leaves. So for me, I was doing that performance to let people understand how we deal with the diseases and the COVID in particular. So that drawing you see is the leaf, how we use leaf to protect ourselves from diseases. And it is between, I was talking about the women, which is male and female. That is what we can have when it comes to human. So that drawing was made from that COVID performance. And based on my recycling work, I actually did some recent works that I did on environmental pollution. There is one that you show here that I titled Owner's Corner. So it's here is this particular one is made from the back door of a car. When you buy a car and you are inside the car, you have your driver. When you sit at the back, people know that the owner of the car is the one sitting at the back. Everybody in this, we all knew that sitting at the back and someone is driving you, yeah, indicate that you are the owner of that car. So I was now looking at if all of us can understand that there's a space for the owner of the car in the car, then there's a space for every items in our society. No person, no one without a space in the community, and no object without a space in the community. So the waste objects that we are finding in our community, they also have their own corner, which is the waste bin. But we don't, recognize them without space. So we drop them on the floor, we drop them anywhere. So for me, I was now, teaching people through my art to tell them that there is a space for them. And that is why I titled it Owner's Corner. When you look at that car, the door, the inside it, I use some recycled materials, some waste materials inside that door. And that will indicate that that is their own, they have their own space. So that is Owner's Corner.
Okay, that's a beautiful one, and thank you for that. So let's also talk about you talked about paintings and all of that, and you've talked a little about recycling as well, and even the performance, So let's even look at recycling. Um, the world is going global when it comes to climate change and environmental issues. And it's a good thing that you're also looking at recycling because part of what we're trying to also sensitize young people and even children is to learn how to see how they can diversify and also see the business side of recycling. So how has it been for you, when you talk about this recycling thing? Because there's so much to be there's so much to gain from recycling. We keep wasting a whole lot of things that we could use properly and channel them into recycling for other things. So how has it been for you?
My journey into recycling started in 2014. So I learned a lot from that first piece that I made because it was a project. And when I was doing it, I realized that people actually putting their waste items beside that project because they knew this guy is going to use those items. So, and that one gave me an insight that what we are lacking is the structure. If you look around, when people moving around, eating, most especially in Lagos, Lagos is so busy that people find it so difficult to eat on the spot. They move up and down eating, and I think if some people have come in that regards to solve the problem of people don't have time to sit down, I think what is lacking is a proper structure of waste bin. In every street, there should be a waste bin. So when you are moving, you drop it there. So far, I realized that the way we are actually dealing with our environment is the way we are dealing with ourselves. Because the environment houses all of us. If the environment is being damaged, we are the one damaging ourselves. And it's because we are not being sensitive to our environment, and that is why many things are happening and we don't even care, because we don't care about the landlord, which is the environment. So for me, when I'm doing my recycling work, I'm not just seeing objects, I'm seeing souls, because I believe that if you don't value your environment, there is no way you want to value the people in there living in that environment. So I want to um, appeal to everyone that our immediate environment is our body, is our house. And when the house is collapsed, there's no way we will not also collapse. So when the environment is being damaged, we are damaging ourselves, we are damaging souls, we are damaging a lot of other things. So for example, in one of my my recycling work that I titled "Who Impregnated the Earth," and when you look at it, it's a pregnant woman with trash at the pregnancy, the belly. So I realized that when we trash a lot of things into the on ground anyhow, we are actually impregnating the earth, and there is no way we will not have a baby, which is the erosion, flood. So, and at the end of the day, we keep complaining. There is no need for us to complain because we are actually the one impregnating the earth. And we need to take care of that. We need to take care of the baby by doing the needful. So for the environment, we need to change our orientation totally, because the way we deal with the environment is actually the way we are dealing with ourselves. You say we don't care, we less care about everything around in our society. And that is the way things are happening to us too. People are being affected, we don't really care. People are dying, we don't really care. We move on. And this is so sickening for me. And I realize that it's because we are not being sensitive to our immediate environment. These are the things that actually propelling me to do more about the recycling. So when I do recycling work, it's not because I want to put those items together, no, but because I'm seeing the value in it. Now, when you look at iron, you cannot find iron the way we are finding plastic, because people knew that it can be, recycled. So until when people get to understand the value of those items, that is when they can pay attention to it. When you don't understand the value of the people around you, there's no way you want to engage them. And that is what is happening presently now. That's what I personally am seeing. So for us to change, for the environment or the nation to change, we need to be sensitive about our environment. Our environment is the first thing for us to understand. When the environment is being taken care, the people living in that environment will be useful, because you see the beauty from there. You see the talent. will not be able to see that talent when you cannot imagine, you cannot see the beauty of the environment where they are living. It's not going to work because they are living in that space. When the space is damaged, the people in that space is also damaged. When you don't see beauty in that environment, there's no way you want to see beauty in the people living there. Imagine, I've witnessed the situation whereby a particular garden will be, decorated, and within a year it will be destroyed because people don't value it, people don't understand it. So, and that is why the creativity, the art is very, very important for people to see beyond just now, but the future. So I want to appeal to everyone that we should take care of our environment. The environment is actually crying, is weeping. Imagine you are the environment, you are the space, and people are trashing anyhow on you. Will you be happy? You will not. This our space is also breathing. So, and when you are putting those trash on it, you are, you are killing the environment, and there's no way we will not be also be affected. So please, everyone, let's be sensitive to our environment. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Yusuf. So let's come to some of the exhibitions that you have either attended or done, organized for yourself. But first, I need to ask you, there's a picture I saw of a small girl with uniform, I guess, and her hair. What was the concept behind that? And another picture where it looks like you, a man's picture from the side. This one, yeah, the first picture, a man's face was showing from the side. Yeah, that first one. And then the girl's picture wearing a school uniform, and then she has her hair braided and all of that. So I'll ask you that before we come to exhibitions that you've either attended or you've organized.
Um, I was an art teacher for nursery and primary in the past, and I'm still teaching, but not in school setting. When I was teaching them, I felt their emotions. I've never been so sensitive to faces, but those kids, they actually taught me how to read people's emotion. When you see them, something is affecting them, they are giving you sign, and you imagine what is happening. At times you ask them questions, they won't answer. They will just look so calm. And I was during that period, I was seriously learning how to deal with people, how to engage them without talking, understand them. So in my work, most especially portraiture, you see different emotions, and that is what I portray in my work. The boy, that is my new techniques, my new idea. Yes, that's my new style of painting. So the ordered from the mantle. So in the past, I do paint, but not with, you know, there is a lot to gain from the memory. If you are sensitive and you look back, you will gain a lot from the memory. The one you show me now with a boy with lines on it, actually I got that idea from my first art form, which is sewing, the movement of line on the fabric. So when I was just reflecting back to the past, I realized that I started my art actually from the lines, movements. And when I was just painting, I just asked myself, why can't I put lines on it? And I was just, moving, scribbling, and I got myself into that. So it's all about reflecting to the past and bringing to the, present. So art is a journey, and just trying to put one thing and the other, and things will be changing because it's not static. It's all about being flexible. So for me, I believe that when you as being sincere to your process, the process will take you to even where you don't even think you get. So the one thing is be sincere to yourself. So when I was just trying to put things together and flashback on the memory, the past experiences. So it's now getting back to this, and I was just putting line on it, and that is how I came up with that combination of, abstract with the facial expression and the lines.
Okay, so let's talk about your exhibitions and the ones you've attended. How has it been for you?
Well, it has been a wonderful journey, but not easy. I can remember my first encounter with a collector actually frustrated my life, and I thank God that things happened that way, because it brought out the other art form in me. So he bought the works, and at the end of the day, things are not just going the way it's supposed to be. Then I was just asking myself, is this how I'm gonna go with my art career? Waiting, and at the end of the day, I realized that I'm a graphic artist, I'm a printer, I do all sort of stuff. I can do signages, calligraphy. So I moved into commercial art. So I was doing all those one, not leaving my um, visual art, fine art, production. So, and at the end of the day, it's came up fine. So for exhibition for me is not all about you want to sell. You want to send a message to the public, to the people. And when you have what people need, definitely they will engage you, they will buy it, and you get your money. The first thing is, what message are you passing across to your people? It's not about setting out for selling the work, no. So you must understand the fact that you have a message to pass across. How connecting are you to your people? Are you really talking to them? So not for fashion sake or beautification sake. No, art should be a tool of changing people orientation, activating their sense of belonging. So when you have that, you are communicating, you are preaching, you are, reminding them of who they are. And by the time you are doing that, they will connect. They will feel like to get your peace. And that will also fetch you back. So, and that has been um, my philosophy. So when I put in for an exhibition, it's not because I want to sell, but because I want to pass across, and I want to show my new skill. And that's why I'm not rigid. Every time things get in flow, and I've worked with different art materials, from soft plastic, which is sachet water nylon, to solid plastic, plastic from computer gadgets, plastic from automobile, plastic from our daily, life activities. So I've used all sort of things. I've used paper, trying to solve and questioning my existence. When we are having this, can we have it this way? For me, projecting my art, most especially my recycling work, for people to see the beauty, so that they know, also think, reactivate them to think of this thing is useful, not useless. For me, I don't see it as being trash, but I see it as treasure. Some people see it as waste, but for me, I see it as wealth. So things can only be trash right from your mind. Is your mind. So my exhibition so far, in a group or solo, for me has been wonderful, because the mission is for me to get an information out there, for people to see my work and question me why this, and also reply, and engage them more. Most of my recycling work is talking to people, and from my explanation so far, you know, who impregnated the heads, did they even hear my word? And those are the themes that I work with, things that can engage people, things that can educate them. Thank you.
Okay. A viewer just asked the question I was going to ask you next about the government. So if you see this on the screen from Solomon Ebere, kindly read it out and then respond to it.
Oh well, how the government promote work of art? Well, the government is actually trying, but I will tell them that we copy other people, and that is lack of creativity. It is creativity that will make you understand that you need to be yourself. You need to understand that this is the challenge that you have. How do you want to solve the challenge? Now, government will realize that, oh, they are putting up an art show, art cafe, art these. They also want to do that. I think for me, we are just taking it from the top, not going to the scratch. If you actually want people to understand what art is and contribute heavily to the art promotion, they have to change the school curriculum. They have to make sure that the creativity is there for them to learn from the grassroots. When you are building things for people and those people don't see the value of what you are doing, there's no way they will value it. There's no way they will see beauty in it. For example, look at, maybe you have a governor or a president that, you know, collects massive art collection for a building, maybe in Aso Rock and things like that. I've seen several, scene like that, to embellish the wall and things. And you have another set of, governments come in and see, don't see anything in it, and so they trash it out. So all what you have done is just waste of time, because people don't understand the value of it. So for me personally, if government want to help and want to promote art, it has to start from the scratch. The people, the community have to understand what art means, and it starts from the education. That is where we are learning from. Either everyone, we are learning from nursery, primary, secondary. This is where the work is. When people get it right from here, when you project your art, they will know the value. So they will know that art can be used as collateral because it has value. But now people don't see it. Even when you put an artwork out there, they damage it. Sculptural piece, they damage it. They don't see any value in it. So if no matter the amount, no matter the energy you put into the promotion, if you start from the up, it will still be damaged. But they're actually trying, organizing shows. But for me, I believe that is my own concern, that people are being disconnected from the arts. And when they are being disconnected, they are being disconnected of a lot of things, their culture, their identity, many things. It is this creativity, art, that will make you realize whom you are. This is where I'm coming from. This is my background. This is my history. And you trace it. Then you be yourself. When you're talking and we're talking in English, our own language is fading off. And that is also part of art. So when you can't stand as a whole. We are being diluted. So for me, I believe that government should go to the roots and start from that angle. So with that, people will value it. People will pump more money into it. They will know that the government only just needs to create the structure. When the structure is good, forget about other things. Everyone will key into it. People that have the money to spend for art will understand the value, and they will also come in for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I would like you to wrap up now with my last question, that now you've talked about the government and what they can do to support art. What can the society as well do? I know you touched briefly on that, but how do we also begin to grow a society that values some of those things? You also talked about culture and all of that. So how do we even catch them young, to make sure that the next generation of people, of young people coming up, will appreciate arts and all of that?
Uh, I believe we need more workshops. We need more art exhibition in a public space. Yeah, thank God in the past, things are not being well, but presently we are having some shows that are being pushed into the public space. When you are having an exhibition and being locked up, how many people will see that? A lot of people are being disconnected from this art. A lot of people don't have the privilege to go and see the artwork, you know, in an exhibition space. So we need to take art to the people. We need to do some art shows that to engage the community. And art is changing, and thanks the some of the art organizers that are trying to make sure that they are pushing the art into the space for people, ordinary people, to engage with the art. So to help, and the community at large, the people, the society, to value art, we need more collaboration from the organized art lovers, and art shouldn't be locked in the gallery where people cannot see it. No, we should take art outside. And for me, I think that's how people can engage with art. People can value art. And at the same time,
Mm.
there are some of the things that we have, but because of the Western, ideology, we believe everything is fetish, which is totally wrong. If we want to appreciate art, you should understand that items is items. What you use it for makes it a fetish. It is not the item that is fetish. It is what you make it, use it for. So I want for us to have, a better understanding of art in general, which is our art is our life, to understand ourselves. We need to decolonize ourselves from the idea of everything about African is fetish. No. When we have that, we begin to understand ourselves. We begin to have value for those things. We have, when you use calabash these days, you say, oh, this guy is a ritualist. When you use clay pot, when you use different things, you say he's a ritualist. Why? Because they have been painted in that manner. Until when we decolonized ourselves from that, we begin to value ourselves. Every one of us, we are artists. We are art. Art is living in us. But because of that ideology, I will not be able to see it in you. I will not be able to understand that this is the beauty from. Black is beauty. It's only black that can, take in all the colors. When you mix all the colors together, it give you black, which means we have a lot, to talk about. We have a lot to give to the world. But because you have this mentality that no, this is fetish, then we not be able to see it. So I want to also, the way the society can help art is for you to decolonize yourself from this ideology, from this mental derail that many things about us is fetish.
Yeah. I was laughing here when you talked about Calabash and all of that, because Nollywood and some of these films have also depicted all that in our mind. So you get into a restaurant, they serve you Calabash, food with a Calabash, and then in your mind you're like, this woman don't put juju inside the food
Yes,
and
yes,
all of that. So
yes.
yeah, so we're wrapping up now. I want you to, what we do here on the show, we give our guests 2 minutes to greet organizations that have supported them, greet their support mechanisms. It could be their spouses, their loved ones, their colleagues, and all of that, and people who have shown them support in the work that they do. So I'll finally ask you that who are the people you want to greet, people who have supported your work and all of that, names of organizations or persons. You have 2 minutes to do all of that, and then we'll wrap up. So go ahead.
Wow, this is an hot seat, because for me, I have a lot of people, I have a lot of organizations that have really helped out, individual that has helped my career. Um, Pastor Sului, my brother, family, friends, my friends, Nick Art Gallery, and Society of Nigerian Artists, and all the art galleries, art organizations. There are many, so many. So I just want to say thank you so much for supporting my art career, and my art lovers. People send messages that I love your work, and those are the things that keep me moving, keep me, energizing me more. People see my performance, say this is wow. See my painting, see my installation, see many things about me. And I thank you so much. Naming, putting names now, man, is a lot for me. It's a lot because I have a lot right from schools, lecturers, friends that have been there, people that I believe there are some people that stand like a ladder. You understand? And before you can climb, there are some ladder that you cannot climb. You only need people to take you off from there. You might be climbing some little ones, but there are some that are bigger than you, even you. So you need people, and I've encountered a lot of people like that. Mention Dapo, my photographer. It has been He has always been a wonderful person for me, supporting my career, you know, documenting. So lot of people. My wife, thank you so much for understanding who I am and take me for that. See me and say, what this guy is doing? What is all this? But with time, getting to understand me gradually, getting to know, oh, this guy is actually passing messages and things are getting better. People are acquiring your work and the money is coming in. So things are getting, changing and understanding. So, but for your patience, for your understanding, for your resilience, for being my waste bin where I trash every other thing, I thank you so much. And my kids for supporting daddy, thank you so much, everyone. And even you, calling me on this program is a lot for me because it creates more awareness, more publicity. Thank you for supporting art in general. Thank you so much, and thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you so much, Yusuf. We really must go now, but I promise that I'll bring him again to talk about some more things. Arts is something I think we should celebrate because we're talking about diversification in the country. Oil is drying, and then all of that. So we need to also diversify, just as the entertainment industry is there, agriculture is there, and all of that. We need to find a way to also make sure that fine arts and all its ramification is also encouraged so that talented people can also do all of that and be self-employed. Thank you so much, Yusuf Durodola, for being there for us. And thanks to everyone who watched. The video will still be here. You can watch after the show, both on YouTube and on Facebook. Keep your comments there. That will also help us in knowing what to ask him when we bring him a second time around. And thank you all for joining us. My name is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari, and urging you to have a beautiful Saturday and enjoy the rest of your weekend. God bless you all and have a nice evening. Bye bye.